I was 30 when I realized how loudly silence can speak. Every morning I sat at the breakfast table across from my husband, watching the steam rise from his coffee while my own cup went cold. He was 65, his hair fully gray, his hands marked by years of work and decisions I didn't yet understand. When I looked at him, I felt two emotions fighting inside me, gratitude and confusion. People assumed I married him for security, for comfort, for reasons that had nothing to do with love. The truth was more complicated. We met when I was lost, when the world felt too fast and too cruel. He listened when no one else did. He offered calm when I lived in chaos. At first, that felt like love. But as I watched him read the newspaper each morning, folding it the same way every day, I wondered if love should feel so quiet. Outside our home, whispers followed us. In the park, strangers stared. Some smiled politely, others judged openly. I told myself I didn't care, but their eyes lingered in my mind long after we returned home. That morning, as he looked up and smiled at me, I smiled back, hiding the small ache growing in my chest. The ache grew stronger when routine became my entire world. Our life was predictable, safe, and structured around his comfort. Dinner at 6. Walks at 7. Bed by 10. He liked things a certain way, and I adapted without realizing how much of myself I was putting aside. I stopped wearing bright colors because he preferred neutrals. I stopped playing music loudly because it gave him headaches. Slowly, my world shrank. One afternoon, while walking alone in the park, I overheard two women whispering. They didn't know me, but they knew my story just by looking. Their words stung because part of me feared they were right. That night, I stood in front of the mirror longer than usual, studying my reflection. I saw youth, yes, but also doubt. I asked myself a question I had avoided for years: if no one was watching, if no one judged, would I still choose this life? The answer didn't come easily, but the silence felt heavier than before. Everything changed when I met Daniel. He was around my age, a neighbor who had recently moved in. We crossed paths by accident, reaching for the same book at a small local library. Our conversation was simple, innocent, but it awakened something I thought I had lost. With him, words flowed easily. We laughed about small things. I felt seen in a way that wasn't tied to who I was supposed to be. Guilt followed immediately. I reminded myself that kindness didn't mean betrayal, that conversation wasn't a crime. Still, I found myself thinking about him more than I should. At home, my husband talked about his plans for retirement, for quiet years ahead. As he spoke, I realized his future was already written, while mine felt unfinished. That night, I lay awake beside him, listening to his steady breathing, wondering when my life had become something I was afraid to question. The truth surfaced on a rainy evening. We were having dinner when he suddenly asked me if I was happy. The question startled me. He rarely asked questions like that. I tried to answer quickly, to protect him and myself, but the words caught in my throat. He watched me carefully, not angry, just observant. In that moment, I understood something painful and unexpected, he had known for a while. He spoke softly, telling me he never wanted to cage my youth, that he feared being the reason I stopped dreaming. Tears fell before I could stop them. I confessed my confusion, my fear of regret, my guilt. He didn't interrupt. When I finished, he nodded slowly. Love, he said, doesn't always mean holding on. Sometimes it means letting go before resentment takes its place. His words broke me and healed me at the same time. That night, nothing was decided, but everything had changed. The silence between us no longer hid the truth.